I love working with clay. The fact that you can mold it and shape it into anything you like is sort of like life. If you don't like the way it's going, you can change it, like I'm doing right now. To get where I want in life, it requires I change everything, every aspect of my life, my friends, and myself. I have many dreams. I would love to be a filmmaker. I would also love to be a rock star, but I suck at singing and I can't play any instruments. One of my main dreams is to become a stop-motion animator. I discovered it when I was a kid. I made a couple of short films, and people liked them. So I decided to take it more seriously. The clay became my pal. I'd go home right after school and work with it. I had no friends to hang out with anyway.
Someone was there to make sure that things went smoothly. Someone was there to help them see it through a buyer's eyes.
But things in life change. Like I said before, I have many friends now. Well, not that many, but just enough.
You know what MTV should be called, man? I think it should be called MTV.
My friends inspire me in a way. They have so many characteristics. The metalhead, the computer nerd, the pro skateboarders. But my best friend is my girlfriend, Giselle.
Hey.
She's very supportive of me. What I love about her the most is that she also loves cartoons like me. She also loves to feel the work I'm choosing to go into.
Robert has a huge problem with, being social, and his shyness affects him a lot. And the fact that he's sort of afraid of failure and he's really shy. But that's what I love about him. I love the fact that he's extremely shy because it just makes you want to know more about him, I guess.
This year I'm graduating from high school. I'm going to college to pursue my career. But doing that means I have to leave my friends behind. I feel like I just stepped into reality, and I'm being forced to leave it again, and I don't think I'm ready for it. But I do want to continue my dream, and I shouldn't let anything stop it. It's just as a part of me as my heart. Just because I'm having fun now, it's better if I leave it before it leaves me.
I'm always gonna remember him as a friend to us. So once he leaves the school, he's gonna we're gonna miss him.
And I love him.
We're gonna miss him.
And I love him.
Yo, clutch, man.
So even though leaving my friends is kind of rough, I know I have to.
That ends the day.
I don't want a regular job, like a garbage man or a toll booth guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they're good people. I just don't want that kind of job. I want to work with clay, because that's my life and that's my original best friend.
In our world, and especially in New York City, what puts you in or separates you from the crowd is the way you look. Unfortunately, we aren't told apart or grouped in with everybody else based on how we think or how we feel. Welcome to the New York City drag scene. A unique crowd, separated from all others, but assumed to think and feel the same way. As somebody who's known but not understood, I've always identified with drag queens. For those of you who don't understand, they're not transvestites, they're not she-males, they are drag queens, and they're not all the same. There are different ideas, goals, and self-images that make each queen unique. I set out to interview queens of New York and find out why they dress in drag and what makes them who they are. This is Brendel, First Lady of Magic. For Brendel, drag is less of a lifestyle and more about show business.
I love show business. To me, since I was born, I want to be in show business. To me, the stage, the light, I love that. You know, that's what's been part of my life all the time. And I started as a magician, but I was not Ziegfeld and Roy or David Copperfield. You know, I was one in the many. So in a black tuxedo, I didn't get no job. I put a wig on, I get job all the time. I was steady.
This is Misunderstood, drag performer and founder of Screaming Queens Entertainment, a company which specializes in, you guessed it, drag queens.
We're having a crisis because one of my performers dropped an air conditioner.
Misunderstood is a visual artist. She's her own canvas and drag is her medium.
In the late 80s and early 90s, there was sort of an underground alternative culture sort of scene that was sort of like artists doing drag. I never really was one of those like people to do regular drag. I was shaving my head and painting my head blue and gluing broken mirrors to my head and just doing and wearing a dress with it, you know, just crazy. It was very popular at that time to do those kind of things. And as I got better at it, people were offering me jobs like, oh, we'll pay you to dance on the bar.
Some fabulous, dynamic, and fantastic.
Royally radiant, Her Royal Highness Princess Deandra can describe herself best.
A few years ago, not that many, a good friend of mine was working at a club called Boy Bar, and she would look at me, and we would go out to clubs and stuff in the 80s, probably when you were born. And she would go to clubs and such, and she said to me, you would make an amazing drag queen, because you know, like I'm small boned and I have small hands and feet and such. And one Halloween, I got dressed as Diana Ross, and she's like, I knew it, I knew it. So she took me to this place, Boy Bar, and the manager was like, you are fabulous. And Matthew Caston, he put me on the stage, and then the rest is herstory.
I originally was born in Cuba, and I was raised in Florida. And my father was a military captain of police in Cuba, and my two brothers were, macho men. It was not easy. It was not easy because back in those years, being gay and being, dressed, wearing clothes was taboo,
I grew up in Levittown, Long Island, which is famous for being the model suburb. You know, some queens will tell you they always felt like a woman, and maybe they're really more transgendered than me. I just didn't fit in with. I was just. I wouldn't say I played with the Barbie dolls, I just played with the creative things like the Legos. I just sort of knew I was out of place there. And eventually I made it here to New York City and my life started.
So, you don't feel like a woman?
No.
I was born in New York. I was actually born in Brooklyn, and all I did was cross the bridge and come to Oz. It was very easy. High school, I went to Fashion High School. It was full of freaks and faggots. For lack of a better word. It was creative people don't give you shit when you're different. And I was quite square. I was very preppy.
Wait a minute. Aren't transvestites and transsexuals the same as drag queens?
No. But Misunderstood can explain.
See, there's a few different categories that people sort of blur together. There are drag queens, which are like performers mostly, who dress up, you know, to either put on a show or to like put together something that's aesthetically beautiful looking. Then there's like a transsexual who's somebody that really wants to change their gender, and that blurs a little bit. Some drag queens become transsexuals. And then there's like a transvestite or a cross-dresser, which is like not really like us at all. It's somebody who's usually straight that gets off on dressing up in women's clothes, and they don't usually look very good.
You know, to me, to put the outfit as a woman, you know, look at like a woman, it's like putting a Santa Claus outfit or put a clown outfit. When I'm in drag in the show, I'm the entertainer, but never in my mind I consider myself a woman or want to make the public believe that I'm a woman. Even when I was younger, you know, I am a female impersonator. I finished the show and I just got to the dressing room, the wig off. I can't wait to take everything off.
Where do you draw your drag persona from?
Myself. Like, I am the personification of the most perfect woman that I can be. Like, if I was born a biological female, I would be the person that I am in drag, sorta.
Put it this way, if I'm hired to socialize at a party, I might be pretending to be happy or pretending to have fun because I'm working. So yeah, to that level, I'm putting on something, but I'm not really pretending to be a particular character with, like, you know, traits that aren't mine. I just put together what I think is pretty.
I love exaggerated, fancy, you know, costumes, you know, feathers and lavish fox and jewelry and fancy extravagance and musicals, showgirls, staircase, chandeliers, music.
When gals who are guys like guys, but guys who are guys like gals, how does a queen date?
It's weird that if you dress in drag, like, straight guys find it sexy, but then gay guys are like really threatened by it and freaked out by it. So it makes it really hard to date people out of drag because you always feel like, yeah, and I gotta tell them I do drag. It's like a regular person having to tell your, you know, your blind date that, like, you know, that you have herpes in a colostomy bag or something, you know. It's definitely gonna like freak them out.
If you wanna be with me, you be like this, bald, fat, whatever, but me, you know. I don't wanna be in a wig, so you go out with me. You understand?
Because then you get these other guys that hit on you in drag, and they're gorgeous, and they're like these big Guidos or something, and they, like, you know, are hitting on me because I'm wearing makeup. But then they wouldn't want me out of drag, so that's, you know, this takes 3 hours to put on. I'm not putting it on for them.
I defy any sexual categorization. Like, I am a human being that was born male with gender dysphoria, and I don't consider myself gay, even though I like men. I don't really like gay men. No, I don't like gay men. Sorry. I love gay people, but I don't want to sleep with them. I like to be with a man. And maybe because I kind of like innately feel like a woman, so I like men, like strong, hard, real men. No cosmopolitan, Roxy going, suntan bathing, sun booth bathing. Anyway.
So it must be difficult for you to take.
Not at all. Are you kidding?
These gals not only manage to find themselves an exciting lifestyle, but a career in self-expression as well.
I think I have a really countercultural personality. You know, I really don't like authority figures. And when I had my first and only 9-to-5 job, I just thought, oh, this is horrible. And I looked at my bosses and I thought, well, I don't really want to be promoted to their position either. Like, you know, I hate what they do, and they wear ties and ugh. But I didn't like what I did either, and I just thought, oh, God, what's gonna happen?
I'd be miserable. I can't, you know what, I just can't think I could have done anything else because I was, like I said, I've been doing drag since I was 3 years old. What else can I do? What can you see me doing? What else can you see me doing?
I'm a senior that I get looking gorgeous, go on the stage, people applaud me, so it does go for me. And if I were to choose another career, it would be just another sad, bored, old man.
Given all this info, I think it'd be fair to conclude that a drag queen isn't the product of some foul childhood or mental botch, but a human canvas who managed to find her place in the gallery. Unlike many of us today, a drag queen is simply a creative individual who happened to find something they really, really enjoy doing. And that's that.
word that comes to mind is definitely eccentric. Jimmy is a very quirky individual.
Jimmy's he's a funny guy. He likes to make people laugh.
I guess from other people's perspective, which is, funny to us, but James can kind of be a jerk to them.
I guess he could be a little mean, especially to people who don't really know him that well, because I guess to strangers he comes off like a bit of an asshole.
When I was really little, my mom convinced me that you were making me feel bad. Like, I don't know, she was like, oh, your self-esteem is probably because Jimmy always makes fun of you.
So from an outside perspective, people probably think that Jimmy is, just there for the laughs.
Dramaturgy is a theory that states that the world is a stage and that everyone is an actor playing themselves. How honest you are about who you are is up to you, since people can only see the act you put on for them. Why do I pretend to be someone that I'm not? Why is there such a gap between the real me and who people see? Most people don't know me, and most people never will. But will they ever truly like me for me? If I am honest.
You need to eat your dinner now.
All right. Since I was young, my mother and I have never really gotten along. Maybe part of the problem was that I thought my family was happy, but my mother had been depressed for years.
It actually took a lot of explaining on my part for him to understand that what he thought was the perfect family really wasn't, and that I had to explain to him that, there wasn't a whole lot of happiness there.
Some people see a lot of signals from someone and some people don't. So it may be that I had to be told in so many words.
His dad used to say that we were happy. So if someone tells you this is what happiness is, then you start to believe it. And his dad actually would say, oh, this is great, everything is wonderful.
Everything wasn't wonderful. My mom wasn't being completely honest with us. She felt unhappy, but I had no idea. When she left my dad and moved out, I was devastated.
I stayed with his father for many, many years when I necessarily maybe did not want to be with his father.
She'd made a decision, and that was it.
My mom didn't connect with my father and I. We communicated through humor, but she couldn't do that. She hadn't loved my father for 10 years.
We used to fight constantly. Everything that I tried to talk to him about or any type of instruction, it seemed like everything was a struggle, and he used to rebuff me all the time, and it was really hard.
My attitude had always been that, there are compromises. For example, if he wanted things a certain way, I didn't purposely try to make it different just to be difficult.
But so for my son to observe that and to think, well, that's the way it should be. In other words, you're married, you stay loyal, instead of maybe making choices as to what would be best for him and what would make him happy.
How do you think the separation affected Jimmy?
Well, I think he took it pretty well because fortunately it happened when he was, like 16.
I wasn't okay after my parents' separation. It had a large impact on me.
Jimmy isn't always upfront, Sometimes I can see Jimmy puts up like this magical feeling reflection. It's kind of like a force field, It's like.
So when something is wrong, people usually don't really know until he talks about it.
He never really changes his act, I guess.
My father told me at my grandmother's funeral that I shouldn't cry. Men don't cry, and we need to be strong for the family. Ever since then, I haven't been able to express my emotions when I needed to.
Being a parent is a hard thing. never ever going to get it absolutely right, ever. And all you hope is that everything that you do as a parent is you just try for the best. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. And the only thing I try to do is I just try to do my best. And I hope that he understands that.
Love you. Don't think that I'm just doing this to attack you or anything.